one-stop shop for action movies, comic book movies, and the occasional horror movie reviews and rankings. And today, I felt like talking about a movie franchise that is near and dear to my heart. I grew up with the early ones. I have a strong nostalgia for them, and I just love this franchise. So I figured, why not talk about what I want to see in the upcoming ninth film in the main franchise. And of course, the franchise I'm talking about is the Fast and Furious franchise. And so let's talk about what I want to see in F9. So let's get into this. And so, if you've seen the trailer, you obviously know that John Cena is playing Dom's brother, Jacob. And the main thing I want to see out of this particular story is I want to see them make a good excuse for why we haven't heard of this brother before. And I think it's there because as someone who's experienced the death of a parent, I know it can be a very emotional thing. And so with Dom having the death of his father as like a child or earlier in his life, it makes it to where if there was like a disagreement, if they had a fight and it was somehow revolved around the death of the Toretto's father. And so I think if they come up with a good reason as to why they were fighting at that point in time, I think that situation bodes itself well to a strong emotional reaction that would warrant removing someone from their life and would warrant why we haven't heard about Jacob Toretto until this point in time. And by the looks of the trailers, there's a couple shots in there that show a like almost NASCAR like wreck happening. And if you know the first movie as well as I do, you know that the Toretto's father died in a stock car crash. And so because it's in the trailer, I am confident that they will do a decent enough job coming up with why we haven't seen the character of Jacob until this point in time. And so something that all of us Fast and Furious fans have wanted for a long time is justice for Han. And by the end of the trailer, there's that bombshell that Han is still alive, and it says justice is coming. And I don't want it to be some supernatural resurrection thing, but I don't want them to take away from that moment in Tokyo Drift where Han died, or the emotional impact of 7, of them thinking Han is dead. So I want them to come up with a good way for why Han's still alive. Because for as much as I love Fast and Furious 6, it did take away from the 4th movie for me personally, with how they brought Letty back. And then a third thing that I'd like to see is I'd like to see them utilize Cypher in a much better way than Fate did. One of my issues with Fate is they have Charlize Theron playing this villain. You have Atomic Blonde. You have the girl from the Old Guard playing the villain. And yet she just felt like a hacker to me. Kind of just standing there, typing on computer most of the time. And I just don't think she was utilized very well. And so that's another thing that I would like to see is her getting much more than just like a hacker treatment. So now moving on to talking about what a lot of people seem to want to talk about with this franchise, and that is them going to space. Do I want to see it? I don't mind it. I don't mind the bonkers action that the later sequels went into. I love 7. I love 6. I love 5. I wouldn't mind it if they went to space, but I don't want them to do it for the sole gimmick of going to space. I don't really want them to do it necessarily in this movie either. I'd rather them do it in like 10. And I think a good example of why they could go to space from a pure enjoyment level is there's a scene in Ad Astra with like a moon chase. And I think Fast and Furious gets their hands on a situation like that. They could make a great, just awesome vehicular moon action scene. And so I would love to see that. But like I said, I want them to come up with a good story reason or something around why they have to go to space and not just do it for the sole gimmick of doing it. And lastly, I want to have a good reason as to why we're returning to this franchise. It is my favorite franchise, but Fate felt like it just existed to continue making movies rather than actually having a compelling story, and that frustrated me as a major fan of these characters. I don't want it to be like a movie that exists to solely get from point A to point B. And that's kind of what John Wick Chapter 3 felt like to me. And that's why it's my least favorite of that franchise. So these are the 5 things that I want to see in F9, the ninth installment, 10th if you include Hobbs and Shaw, in my favorite film franchise. And if you have any thoughts, any things you want to see that I didn't mention, I'd love to hear them in the comments down below. And if you like this video, if you like these ideas, even if you hated my thoughts, go ahead and smash that thumbs up button. And smash that subscribe button as well if you're a big fan of this franchise. I plan on doing a couple other Fast and Furious videos this month. I also want to do a huge Vin Diesel ranking video at some point. And so stay tuned for that if that interests you. If you love just big action movies, feel free to subscribe. I'll have content you'll love. And I will return next time when I see you again.